Hello, welcome to 307 Reads, where the darkest stories come to life. As a former deputy coroner, I've seen the reality behind true crime and horror stuff. And now I bring you the best of chilling true crime, spine-tingling horror, and fresh voices in fiction. If you love gripping tales, shocking cases, and discovering new authors, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore the shadows together. Hello, so today we're going to take a look at a brand new book that's not even out yet. It's going to be out May 6th from Tor Nightfire. The book is called Overgrowth. It's by Mira Grant. Mira Grant is amazing. She's great. I started liking her thanks to the Books in the Freezer podcast. They were reading Into the Drowning Deep, and ever since then I've read all of her stuff, and she's really good. She's one of those authors that, much like Stephen King, writes these characters that you may not like them, but you're interested by them. You want to see what's going on with them, and that's what this book really encapsulates. It's one of her best, I think. It's right up there with Into the Drowning Deep, I think. It's got everything you'd want in a sci-fi horror book, and that's what it is. It's a totally different type of a book. Kind of almost reminds me of Nick Cutter a little bit, in that she mixes the science fiction with the scary stuff, and she knows enough about the mechanics of body horror that she writes kind of realistically about strange situations. Well, let me throw you a little bit about this book. So this book essentially has been described as a cross between Independence Day and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think that's apt in a way, but it does so much more than that. I think the character development in this book is more vibrant. I mean, these are characters that you want to know what's going on. And that what happens is, you've heard the old canard about, boy, I just couldn't put the book down. This is one of those. I'm a slow reader. I'm dyslexic, and so it takes me a while. And I read this thing in a couple of days. It's that kind of book. Here, I'll show you something, because it's a fairly thick book. A little bit of a paperweight there. 400 and some odd pages, but it just flies by, and it flies by because of the strength of the character work. Basically, what's going on in the book is you're following your main character, who, this is going to sound crazy, but she's 8 years old, and she claims she's an alien, and that her alien race is coming to take her back and take over the world. Okay, and of course everybody's like, yeah, whatever, ha ha ha, And you think to yourself, this reminds me of Joe Hill's Horns, a book about a guy that springs out horns out of his head. What a stupid premise for a book, but it turns out great because these guys really know how to make their characters real, and that's what happens here. You actually end up starting to pull for this character, who means the destruction of the human race if she's right, and that's the kind of book it is, and you meet a lot of other characters along the way. She manages to do something with her villains that is unique, in that you still, it's not that you pull for the villains, but you want to find out more about the villains, and you can sometimes see where they're coming from, and that's the kind of book that interests me. I want to thank Tor Nightfire for sending this to me, and Goodreads. This one came as an ARC, so I got to read it ahead of time, and man, it sure paid off. I give this one a 5 out of 5 on the creepy scale. I think it's the kind of book that I can't imagine there being a sequel to. Um, I think this is a great standalone book. But if you want to read any more Mira Grant, um, start to I would start with Into the Drowning Deep and go from there. That's actually a sequel. The first one is good too, but take a look at those books too. But Mira Grant, she's just something else. She also has another series of books, a bunch of other books, as uh, another pen name she uses, which is Cian McGuire, and those are more fantasy type books. Still great writing though. But um, that's about all we have for this book. I recommend it highly. 5 star for me. I will probably reread this thing in a year. It's just going to be one of those books. But thank you for joining me. I hope you liked this. If you did, like it, subscribe it. We're going to have a whole bunch of ones. In fact, we're going to have a new um, Joe Nesbo book coming up. Just as a spoiler alert here, it was not very good. But anyway, that's it. Thank you for joining me, and keep things creepy.